Oh, can I do this again for the thumbnail? Okay. um, it's been 5 years exactly since my father died. Um, it was February 8th, 8th of Feb 2021 due to a pancreatic cancer. Um, he had that thing first in 2019 and he almost won against it, but then eventually and unfortunately the cancer came back and he won. um the experience of watching your father being sick, and then you are unable to see him moving, and then you are unable to see him talking or even hear his voice, is something that was really hard, especially when he was paralyzed. It was really not that easy to um just look at the man who raised you and wanted you to be better than him. It's really not that easy to realize that the person who loved you but maybe perhaps never told you that is nowhere around. And it's also crazy to realize that that was the last person who wanted you to be better than him. This man left 5 years ago, and if it still feels like 5 days ago, you know, it was really hard to process that, but I feel like the best way to process it is throughout analyzing what they used to tell us when they were alive. And that's when I started reflecting on other stuff that he used to tell me when I was a kid. Because I find it helpful to, like, let me explain it. Like, at a certain point of life, I just like said to myself that, okay, he's not around anymore. And at least I can do something that he always wanted me to do. And all this stuff I could remember where you have to, he's just like constantly, he used to tell me, you have to be really confident. Self-confidence is the key. And he used to tell me that I need to take more actions and talk less. I couldn't understand that when I was a kid because I was just like saying like, yeah, it's just my, just another day. My father is just talking. But when you are older, the older you get, the more you realize that that person was right about it, about both parts, like taking actions and being confident. But again, processing their absence is something that is not easy. It's very challenging, but all I can say is that the only good part about him dying was the fact that he was smiling in his last times. Like when, like, I had to kiss his forehead and look at him for one last time, and I looked at this man and he was really smiling for the last time. And it was a smile that came after 3 or even 4 years of suffering from a pancreatic cancer, that it was not just physically but also mentally. And even while he was sick, he never told me that he had that. I only like managed to realize that my father had a cancer just because I had a problem and an issue with a teacher, and the principal was telling me to call my father, and I told him that he's not available right now. He was like, "Why?" I told him like he's having a chemotherapy session right now, and I don't know what is chemotherapy back then. It's just a word that my mom keeps saying while she's around with my brothers and all that. She's like, he's having chemotherapy and all that. And I used to hear this word, but I've never understood it. And I remember the time I told this principal that, he was just like, he was literally waiting for me to tell him the phone. And then when I told him that he's having a chemotherapy session, he just like pulled the phone down, and he was like, putting his hands on his head, and it was like, oh my God. And he didn't want to tell me, I guess, or something like that. And yeah, I had to do some researches, and I found out that my father is having a cancer. So yeah, I don't know what was the purpose from saying this video. I don't know what was the purpose from just opening the camera and just talking, but I feel like we are having this ability to speak ourselves, and it's really good to sometimes just open the camera and just start talking randomly. It does help. It does help. I can't lie. Yeah, that's all I got for today. I like the plan. I might actually shoot another video, but for now, I guess I'm done. Bye.